listening to Dollars and Cents, brought to you by Midwest Money Management, your local full-service, comprehensive financial planning team. Midwest Money Management, where hope is not a strategy.
And we've got him. Connor is a certified financial planner professional at Midwest Money Management into Chalk with us today. Connor, how are you doing?
Al, I'm doing well. Thanks again for having us on.
Good. No, it's our pleasure. You're kind of mucking up with my life, but I think it's going to be okay in the long run.
Every week, that's what it sounds like.
Well, see, because, how do I put it? So the wife and I are in, let's just say there's less road ahead of us than there was behind us when it comes to financial planning and what we're going to do and retirement, what it looks like, right? I mean, we're just getting close. So we're having those conversations. Then you come on the show, and then I say something at dinner, and I sound like I know something because basically I threw something out you said. And then we're going down a road, my wife and I, in a conversation that is like just over my head. An example, tariffs, right? So
casual dinner time chat.
Well,
international trade policy.
Fair enough. But how it comes up is, of course, you see it on the news, and evidently some judge said that some of the tariffs may be illegal or something, but Trump's going to take it to the Supreme Court. And that was the reason the guy on TV said the market had a bump. And my wife said, what do you think of that? And now I'm talking tariffs. Connor, they might have had tariffs 10 years ago, but I never talked about it. You probably took a class on them. I had no idea that they were going on. So now all of a sudden I got to have a conversation with my wife, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm not smart enough to figure out if this is good news, bad news, how this is going to affect my retirement. Do you guys at Midwest Money Management, you take that in, you read it every day and say, well, we got the British on board, now we're good. Do you figure that? I don't want to do that. It's my dinner time.
Yeah. Don't worry about the tariffs at dinner, Al. You gotta just calm down. Don't upset the apple cart about international trade policy.
Didn't start tariffs, buddy. This came up out of nowhere. All of a sudden it's Liberation Day, and now I'm talking about it with my wife. But I presume in your line of work, I'm not the only guy to say, do I get out of whatever funds because they're big on tariffs? Is that a thing? Do you even discuss them at the office?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely look at it all. We're definitely keeping up with it. We're a little unique in that we have a very process-driven investment strategy or process, I guess, to use the same word twice. And so that all amounts to a lot of noise. The truth is, 40 years from now, Al probably is not worried too much about the tariffs from 2025. The reason that tariffs affect the market, the reason that tariffs getting stayed by a judge might, create a bump in sentiment is that the tariffs are sort of curbing low-cost imports from other countries. These companies that are publicly traded that you invest in your 401k and your retirement accounts, they're using international trade partners or other countries where you can get stuff cheaper to build their widget, to build the iPhone, to build the whatever it is. And if they can get it for a lot cheaper somewhere else, they make more money, make more profit, and therefore the stock price goes up. If you turn that off, or you say, well, I know you can get the microchip for $100 in, China, where you get it for 400 here. Obviously, if you slap 100% tariff and now they're getting it for half or for double, it cuts into profitability, which is why, certain stocks might be affected. Again, I would caution everyone to just think to look at a lot of that as noise. We don't really know what long-term is actually going to stick.
Okay, well, then that brings up the second one, because the other thing, 2 weeks ago, so last week, Colin Powell, whatever, the Fed guy.
Powell.
What? Isn't it Colin?
Yeah, Colin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually Jerome, but Colin Powell.
Colin Powell was a general. Never mind. It's a guy.
Yeah, it's Jerome Powell. The chair of the Federal Reserve.
Thank you. See, this is why you know this. What I don't understand, and why, again, this affects me and becomes conversation, is it's on the news. Is he going to cut the rates, and the rate should come down because, I don't know, unemployment's good and the thing is good and it is not coming down and Trump's mad and the Fed guy's like, well, maybe wait a little bit longer. I don't know. Why is this bothering me? Why is this so bad on me? And why is the economy, some guy said it was built into where we're at right now in the market. Yeah. Well, then why are you bringing it up on the news? If it's built in, it's in.
Well, because Al, it gets you watching, so they can get you watching for advertising money, right?
Well, then I got to wait for you to come on too. Got to wait for you for 2 more weeks to come on, so I can ask you what the world is talking about. But this is the stuff I'm talking about. So if my money were with Midwest Money Management, you guys are factoring in interest rates across the globe. I mean, that's what you guys do, because I don't know how to do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, and here's the interesting thing too, Al. Yes, the short answer is yes. The long answer is no one knows what interest rates are going to do, and no one knows what the Fed's going to do this month. They also don't know how interest rates will react, even if the Fed does cut interest rates. So, what they're really talking about, their interest rates is seems like such a fancy word for what we're talking about. Basically, the Fed lends money. The Federal Reserve is the big, sort of governmental, sort of not bank that lends money to other banks, so that those banks can then lend money out. And the interest rate that they charge on those banks is what they actually change. It's very short term. It's actually overnight lending. And they cranked it way up back in 2022 because we were seeing inflation and a lot of bad stuff going on, from roughly 0 to roughly 5.5 or 5. They have lowered it about a point here over a year ago. And actually long-term rates, the rates that affect your mortgage, the rates that affect your car loan actually went up the last time we lowered the short-term rate. And what's been interesting is over the course of the last month, as it's become kind of clearer and clearer that probably the Fed, Colin Powell, is going to lower the rates a little bit. Long-term rates have gone up even further. They actually are pushing, the 10 years pushing 5%.
Not that you should have this answer, but why have the banks get the money at a lower rate? Are they charging me more for my home loan and my cars if they're getting it
because
cheaper?
the loan that they give you on the car or they give you in the house is not based on the Fed funds rate, which is the rate that they're messing around with. The Fed funds rate is effectively a zero duration, or it's the very, very short end of what they call the yield curve. So really fast lesson, this is going to bore everybody. The yield curve is basically the longer you lend money to someone, the more interest rate you would generally expect to get in return, right? If you're going to lend money for 30 years to somebody, you're not going to charge them what you would charge them if you were only lending them money for a week, right? That just makes sense. The more risk you have, the longer you're locked into them having your money, the more interest you would want. Generally speaking, that's called a normal yield curve. Your mortgage is actually based off a 10-year yield or a bond generally, and it's generally based off of the bond market, which is why the actual yields or the actual interest rates have gone up as the low rates have gone down. They are completely based off of the bond market and how confident investors in bonds and therefore in mortgages and in these loans, how confident they are largely in the U.S. government, actually. So the idea is if the Fed is going to sort of juice the economy by making short-term borrowing will cost less, we might run off the rails, and the massive government debt and the massive government spending and things, these are risks that the bond market and the 10-year and the 15-year and the 20-year, the 30-year bonds, they're scared of, which is why prices go down because they're not buying the bonds and yields go up.
See, you were correct. That was not all that interesting, but here's my point about that. You guys worry about that. My point is, if I'm with Midwest Money Management, somebody's listening to this program, they go with Midwest Money Management, you're dealing with that, and I come to you and I say, I got my mortgage 5 years ago and I'm at 7% or whatever it was, but I think I can get it redone for 5. Is that a good time? You're going to worry about 10-year yield of interest rate curving, whatever. I got lost in there. You're worrying about that, right? Would you, or is that all on Al?
Yeah, no, it's not all on Al.
Okay.
We pride ourselves on being kind of a one-stop shop. Whether it's somebody saying, hey, I'm at the car lot, how do I buy this car? And we talk about the loan and we talk about the cost of that, or it's, do I buy this house? Do I sell this house? Do I renovate the house and stay? Do I sell the house and buy a new one? Look at the costs over the next 40 years. Those are the things that we do. A lot of times we're going to tell you, again, don't make a long-term decision like buying a house based off of what Colin Powell is going to do in 3 weeks. That is generally speaking, I can't say all the time, but generally speaking, that's probably not the prudent decision. And we would urge you to make that decision with other factors versus just what the news says Jerome Powell's going to do.
All right. I have one more question for you. We got to do it on the other side. But while we're doing this, how does someone get a hold of you if they're like, hey, we should call Connor and those guys?
Yep.
What do we do?
Go to our website, MidwestMoneyManagement.com. Shoot me an email, Connor at MidwestMoneyManagement.com or give us a call, 651-204-3000, 651-204-3000.
All right, I'm talking coins after this with Connor.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
Are you kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-ALS-SHOW.
You're listening to Dollars and Cents, brought to you by Midwest Money Management. Connor is a certified financial planner professional at Midwest Money Management. All right, Stump Connor is what I'm calling this. I don't know if it's because I talked to you and you know how the phone hears stuff and then all of a sudden it feeds you a lot. You get all that information about stuff you're looking for. I don't know if this is what's happening here. But I start getting emails now, texts, emails, about this coin that's doing 7 times better than another coin that I also never heard of that are both wiping Bitcoin off the map. And I'm like, Bitcoin is kind of what we call that now, but that's like Kleenex, right? Bitcoin is actually a coin too, right? Whatever this
you're talking about cryptocurrency. That's what we're talking about. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
So first and foremost, I have to say I am not at liberty to give any advice on cryptocurrency at all. So none of this is do this, buy this, sell this, don't do this. But with that being said, cryptocurrency, you hear about the coins, you hear about Bitcoin, you hear about Ethereum, you hear about all these things. Very much a craze right now. Been in the news. The current administration seems pretty pro all the crypto stuff.
Yes.
So a lot of reason. There's a lot of questions from people about, do I need to be doing something with this? What is this? How does this work? I don't get to put them in my piggy bank. They keep calling them coins, but they're digital.
Well,
there's a lot of ways to go with this, but Bitcoin is sort of the big one. That's the one that is kind of the stalwart, I would say. And what it really is a technology and a potential payment system. Okay. The idea is that it's not something tied to the banks. It's not something tied to the U.S. government. It is a technology that cannot be kind of hacked or broken, and it's a public ledger. There's a whole bunch of technology that I'm not nearly smart enough to understand. That's the basic premise. What the reality or the practicality of it right now is it's an extremely speculative thing that you can put money into. It's not even considered a security or an asset kind of depends on who you talk to.
You couldn't get a Roth of this. You could not do a Roth.
You couldn't with us. We are not allowed to solicit it at all. I think technically we could have a client come in and say, I need Bitcoin, but they have to have so much assets and it has to be in it. They have to sign something that says we did not tell you to go into this. Because the reality is Bitcoin, for example, has lost half of its value, I think 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years. It's extremely volatile and you need to really proceed with caution if you're going to.
And this is funny that I just get it from your voice, though. I am not the first person to bring this up to Midwest Money Management say, hey, I see this in the news and hey, right?
Like I said, we're always very careful to say, look, this is not our area of expertise. We are not soliciting it at all. We can talk through it. And what we always urge is no matter what you're putting money into, whether it's a speculative stock or an investment that's not publicly traded or a crypto or whatever, you need to be very careful not to put in more than you can withstand if you lost all of it, because that is the truth. So you have things like meme coins, which you might hear about, which are actual jokes that people create a cryptocurrency around a joke, and then it explodes. People throw a bunch of money to. I mean, it's up tens of thousands.
You guys got to stop,
and then it goes away. There's
your
a lot of speculative.
Your age group has to stop. A meme coin. What the? Because my next question was real coins. Because then you get on a list, evidently, and the world wants to sell me the fabulous striped eagle silver dollar or the mint golden thing.
Yeah.
Well, but it's an actual coin. I mean, at
some
least
people
I
would
can
argue
hold it.
that's the same thing, but it's not. So the eagle coin or the whatever you're talking about is precious metals. Now you're talking about a gold coin, a silver coin, different precious metals that are actually tangible that you can probably hold, or you have a vault somewhere or something like that. We do invest in precious metals. We don't do the physical kind necessarily. We have funds that own actual gold and silver. But that's different. And I can see where a lot of people, you said my age group, but people call it, and this is a generalization, but 40, 50, 60-year-olds and older are going, coin? What's a coin? It's on the computer. It's on the internet. And it's dangerous, though. Again, the thing that bugs me the most about that, there's 2 things, is there's a lot of FOMO, fear of missing out. You know, your buddy or your neighbor or your nephew goes, well, I made $10,000 in Bitcoin. And you're like, oh, my gosh, what am I not doing right? That scares me. And anytime there's anything, i.e. real estate in 2008 is a good example of this. Everybody was buying rentals. Everybody was doing stuff, and you needed to get in. That's a good example. The other thing is it's used a lot for black market activities, criminal illicit activities, because it can't be traced, and it's not. It's not run by any government. So just proceed with caution as it relates to cryptocurrency. It's probably here to stay, but
I don't want to proceed at all. I want to go to Midwest Money Management. I want to go to Connor and say, here's my retirement stuff. And I keep getting this stuff about a thing. And you're like, well, whether it's the Eagle coin or I don't know what I need, but you would, because you say you guys invest in some of that. There must be a percentage that makes some sense. And I don't want to deal with it. My point is Midwest Money Management. You will look at it all encompassing and say, that's a good idea, or it isn't, right?
I mean, other than cryptocurrency, we will diversify your investments so that you don't have to. Yes, that is correct.
I think you made that perfectly known. And what do I know? Coin's a coin, a coin. I at least want to get hold of it. I have no idea.
Totally.
So I appreciate you, Connor, coming on and going through my last 2 weeks worth of conversations with my wife. How does someone who says, you know what, I like Connor, he seems like an honest cat, how do I get hold of Midwest Money Management and have them take a look at my stuff?
So again, check out our website, midwestmoneymanagement.com. That'll have a contact us section. You can email me, Connor, at midwestmoneymanagement.com, or give us a call, 651-204-3000. 651-204-3000.
Let's do it again in a couple weeks.
We'll see you in a couple weeks, Al.
All right, it's none other than Dollars and Cents, brought to you by Midwest Money Management.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc. Midwest Money Management and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
You've been listening to Dollars and Cents, brought to you by Midwest Money Management, your local full-service comprehensive financial planning team. Midwest Money Management is located at 17316 Kenyon Avenue in Lakeville, Minnesota. Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Incorporated. Midwest Money Management and JW Cole Financial Incorporated and JW Cole Advisors Incorporated are unaffiliated entities. Any opinions expressed are those of Midwest Money Management and not necessarily those of JW Cole Financial. You should consult a qualified professional for advice on tax and legal matters.